Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome guys. Today we are going to continue with part 2 of our video talking about knowledge, ilm, okay? And from the thumbnail you see I put like 3 different people that most people consider them like at least they know what they are talking about, they've studied, right? So they will tell you each party, because now we know they disagree with each other, and they will tell you go and study, seek knowledge or something like this. Now I want to like break it down. You know me, on my channel I try to like demystify stuff. So today we are going to demystify knowledge, demystify the whole thing about ilm and stuff like that, right? We're going to demystify it, okay? And maybe demystifying it would actually push you to go and study also, because once you see how it's actually attainable, or I won't call it easy, because if you're not dedicated you cannot learn anything, okay? But to demystify it, to show you that you can actually attain it too, and it's not something mysterious, okay? Now, so knowledge, who has knowledge, okay? Who can attain it, okay? Who can attain it? Can it be attained? And we're going to talk about all this, okay? So now let's start fresh. Let's start fresh from a thought process. You have somebody who doesn't believe in God. You have an atheist, an atheist guy. He's 15 years old, okay? So he decided that, you know what, I'm going to study all the world religions, because I want to know them. I want to study all of them, and I'm going to start with Islam, okay? So he said, you know what, let me start with Islam. So the first thing he does is that he goes to learn the Quran, okay? And he memorized the entire Quran, and he doesn't stop there. He memorized it in all the 10 qira'at and all the rules attached to it, all the rules of tajweed. He learned everything. He learned Arabic and he memorized the Quran. Now he doesn't stop there. He goes to the books of hadith, the Sahihain, Bukhari and Muslim. He learned them, he memorized all of them, and all the available hadith books also, he memorized them, okay? And he knows it offhand, okay, this guy. And he doesn't stop there. He goes into fiqh also, and he starts learning about the books of fiqh, and he learns all of them too, all the four mazhabs. He knows all the positions. He can tell you off his head if you ask him for the verdict. He can tell you. So he has learned all these things. Now the question is, does he become a scholar? Okay, does he have knowledge? That's the first question. Does he have knowledge? And if I have knowledge, do I become a scholar? Remember, he didn't become a Muslim yet. He's just learning it, okay? So now many people have asked this question, they have stopped and be like, if I ask them normally that, you know what, if somebody learned the Quran and all the rules attached to the Quran and how to read it in all the 10 qira'at and all of that, they will say, yeah, that guy is a scholar in the Quran, right? He's a scholar in the Quran. If someone learns hadith, he will become a muhaddis. If someone learns like fiqh, he will become a faqih and stuff like that. Now the question is, does he become a scholar or not? Some people will say, you know what, he's a scholar. He's a scholar. Even though he's not even a Muslim, he is a scholar, because knowledge, as we define it, is always, you know, we are trying to demystify knowledge, right? So it's always vague. When you talk about knowledge, you are meaning like two things sometimes. You are meaning like the content of knowledge and also the conclusion that you derive from that knowledge. And me, I'm trying to separate the two. I'm trying to show you that knowledge is, as we have defined it so far, is about the content. How much things do you actually know? So if I know the Quran and all of that, I know it. That's it. Like, I don't have to be a good person to know it. I don't have to be a Muslim to know that. I can just go to the class and learn it and memorize the Quran, and then I know it. I can just go to study hadith and just learn all the hadith, and then I know it. Just like that. I don't have to be a good person. I don't have to be a Muslim to do that. It's just human being. You can do that. You can attain that knowledge. So you will see that that knowledge defined in that way is about the content. You are just learning it to know. You know it. If I ask you, do you know this verse of the Quran? You say, I know it. Read it for me, and I will read it for you. I don't have to be a Muslim to do that. So now, the next question is, if someone attains knowledge, do they become a scholar? And some people will be like, some people hesitate to answer this question, because the idea of scholar, the way they treat the scholars, I'm not saying like, of course, you have to respect the scholars and stuff, but for someone to be a scholar, it's all about the content of his knowledge. So all the scholars that you know, it's probably because they've studied and they've known all those books, like they know it very well. That's why they are scholars, not because of anything, right? You are not born a scholar, you become a scholar by studying, right? So now, can a non-Muslim be a scholar? Some people say yes, some people say no. because they're adding other things to the idea of being a scholar, the idea of knowledge. They're adding the fact that you have to accept it. First of all, you have to be a Muslim. So they are defining it another way, and it's fine, by the way. I'm not saying you cannot do that, because if someone is not a Muslim, you are not going to go to him for verdicts and stuff. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying knowledge. Now, why am I even talking about atheists when I'm trying to talk about and the thumbnail and everything? This is where I'm going to now. I asked one of my friends this question, and he's like, no, he cannot become a scholar because he rejects Islam afterwards. So he's saying because he rejected Islam, we cannot consider him as knowledgeable, and we cannot consider him as a scholar just because of that. Now, so he's saying that acceptance has to be there. You cannot study something and reject it and still be knowledgeable or become a scholar. And that's where I'm coming to say no. I'm going to reject that idea, because see the individuals I put in the thumbnail, 3 of them, they are all smart, as you should know, like Muhammad Hijab, Abdurrahman Hassan, and Asrar Rashida. Any other person that you know that is a student of knowledge that is out there, they can all go to the same books and learn it and all study it and pass with like 100 score, and yet they disagree. That's the point of where I'm even doing this video. When they disagree, do they still have knowledge? Yes, they still have that knowledge. And can they be scholars? Yeah, they can be scholars. So when you see people that you disagree with and you disregard them as they are not scholars, like you only take your own scholars as scholars. Why? Because of their conclusion. So you are accepting them as scholars because of their conclusion. It's not because of the content of their knowledge. So what I'm saying is that, so on the one hand, you have content of knowledge. So somebody has studied all the sciences available, all the Islamic sciences available, and then the conclusion that he generates from that knowledge, that's the other part. You have to see like they are not the same. Okay, the conclusion that he derives might be something you don't derive from it. You can study the same thing and you come up with 2 different conclusions, or maybe you are just listening to 2 scholars talking about the same issue, and you are much more inclined towards one than the other. How are we going to know which one is saying the truth? Can they both be truth? And tie up with the last video that I made about correspondence theory of truth. Like, who is now saying the truth now? Now you know that both of them are knowledgeable. They are Muslims. They are knowledgeable. They've studied the same stuff, and then they come to different conclusions. This is why I said, see, this is the nature of knowledge. Because remember that Christian guy, that atheist guy that we started with. After he studied Islam, and then he goes to Christianity and he studied that, and he studied all the that was his plan in the beginning, to study all religion and then choose one that he thinks is the most right? So after studying all of them, then he comes to the conclusion. Whatever conclusion he comes to, we have to leave him to do that. We cannot force him to choose one, because what if he started with Christianity? Should he have stayed there? You see that you want to be like, you know what, why don't you study Islam as well? So if you are a student of knowledge, or somebody that is a Muslim, or somebody that talks about these things, you will see like it's actually much more better if you actually study all. You study all with, so this will be the advice. You study wide and try to be as unbiased as possible, okay? And then maybe you come to the right conclusion. So you study wide, you study, if you find any differences somewhere, study all the opinions of all the people that are there, and then you try to be unbiased as possible, because your bias can make you can push you to make a rash judgment. Try to remove your bias. Maybe it's your scholar that said it. What if your scholar is wrong? You have to let that be, and then you are examining all the claims, and then you come up with the conclusion, and hopefully that will be the right conclusion. So that's your attempt. You can still be wrong after that, but that's what you try to do. So the reason why I'm doing this is that from my own experience as someone that I was a Salafi before. So I used to think like, when you talk about scholars, like who are the scholars in the world right now? If you ask a Salafi, he will only list his own scholars, right? He will only list scholars that they have the right Aqidah. So they are adding a lot of other things from it. They will even say that Don't learn from somebody that has the wrong akida, because it's like poison. You don't know when he will bring it. He will bring his own akida forward in your study. So it's better to learn from people that are 100% agree with you. But if you're someone that is a bystander that wants to start, how would you know which one to go and follow? Because each one of them is warning you against the other one. Okay? And they're using the same sources. Sometimes they will use the same sources and come up with different conclusions. But they will not want to accept it as, this is just my own opinion. They will want it to be that this is the only way it can be read. Anyone that reads it differently there's something wrong with that person. Okay? Anyway, so this video now, I've demystified the concept of Islamic knowledge to you, that anyone can attain it. The content of it, anyone can attain it. Whether they will accept your conclusion or not, that's a different question. It will not change the fact that they know, okay? And it will not change the fact that they're actually a scholar of that field. So if I'm a scholar of a particular field, I'm a scholar. There's nothing you can do about it. And if you want to see more about this question of, I made another video some time ago about why Islamic knowledge is actually empirical. Anybody can go and learn it and you attain it. Okay, just study the books, right? And I'll put the link up there for you guys. So let me see what you guys think about this. In the next video, I will make this is like the second one. We'll do the third and the fourth one, where I'll bring in different perspectives. Maybe it will help you. Maybe you'll find some benefits in this kind of videos. I don't know. But this is just from my own experience, trying to see like the truth and trying to study. Who should you study with and all of that. Anyway, let's not make this video too long. Let me see what you guys think in the comment section. See you guys later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.